We are in downtown Cleveland today for the final day of the Republican National Convention. I just had the chance to sit down with R.H. Lawrence, a member of the board of directors for Protect America Today, a Washington D.C. SuperPac. We talked all about Trump's foreign policy. Can you tell me a little bit about Protect America Today and how you got involved and what your role is?
My goal is to preserve conservative values in the country. They're under attack right now. I've been a diehard Republican, and I believe that, the way things are going with both parties, we need large sums of money to get, the message out to the American people. And by me belonging to a super PAC that accomplishes those goals. It can't be traditional anymore. Donald Trump is one of a kind, but there's not too many Americans that can accomplish that. So what it does is it enables an average American to be able to run for a national office with a super PAC backing them up. That's the main reason. And for core values that we all have.
Thank you. So I read a little bit on the website of Protect America. How different will Trump's, if he's the president, how different will Trump's foreign policy be than the current administration's? What will those differences look like?
With my opinion, I believe Mr. Trump's foreign policy will be totally different than the current administration, because you realize their foreign policy is totally ineffective. It's not balanced, it's not fair. And what Mr. Trump wants to do, I believe, is to bring a sense of fairness back into our country. We're not a country that has to be subservient to other countries throughout the world. We're a very powerful country.
Okay, thank you. Do you think that Trump will select Rudy Giuliani as the Secretary of State?
Boy, I'll tell you, after last night, I like Newt and the way he was talking. I think there might be a good possibility that Newt might be selected for Secretary of State, and I think he'd make a great one. I know Newt a little bit. I've sat down and talked to him several times. He's a great American. I think he did a wonderful speech after Cruz shot himself in the foot last night, and he saved the day. He really did save the day. So as a Secretary of State, I think he would make a much better Secretary of State. But I believe that the Republicans need to do to bring in, number one, minorities on basically on deportation. There's an element that we have missed here, and I think you will agree with me, and that's who the real criminal in this situation is. And the real criminal is the American businessman that has lured illegal immigration. They have fanned it because, let's face it, if you're starving and standing on a border and you got children to feed, are you going to come across that border? Absolutely. But I've had the opportunity as a businessman to watch other businessmen off the books load 5 to 6 Mexicans in a $100,000 truck, pay them $5 a day, and evade taxes. So I believe I want to send a message to the Republicans: prosecute the American businessmen that knowingly hired illegal immigrants. On foreign policy, and fair trade. I think fair trade has to be hooked directly to human rights. And we have to use our bully pulpit to now advance human rights throughout the world. And how you do that, I agree with Mr. Trump, we need a tariff, but that has to be a variable tariff. If you have a bad human rights record, companies that are manufacturing in that country are tariffed higher than companies that are manufacturing goods in countries that have great human rights records. We would become champions, truly champions of the world in human rights. Because you have to realize China has sweatshops. We have children at 5 years old making basketballs and our people that have unions and are middle-aged are trying to compete with that 5-year-old child that's in a sweatshop, sweating blood, sweat, and tears to produce those products look at how we treat our population. The American people have to understand how blessed we are, and they have to get behind a motion like this. And you know what? I agree with Mr. Trump. We hiccup and the rest of the world gets pneumonia. And he has to use that as a bully pulpit, and I hope he does that. Okay, those are the two issues I like.
Reporting from downtown Cleveland, I'm Sarah Stubbs for UFTV.